Your half an hour dose of positive and uplifting news starts right now. I am your host, Bule Molebatsi. You are indeed watching Stories Untold. Welcome to it. I'd like to frame today's edition of the show by posing this question. What defines us at our core? Is it possible to be defined by something greater than our afflictions in our bodies? In this instance, the answer is a resounding yes. Today we bring you the story of Shannon Naidoo and her triumph over multiple sclerosis. Let's have a look.
Being young means you have a great future ahead of you. It means the world is your oyster. But imagine for a second that future was threatened. There are 1 in 700 people in South Africa living with multiple sclerosis. Very little is known about this disease. Shannon Naidoo faced multiple sclerosis and it would change the trajectory of her life. Her affliction is our light, her life with MS our classroom.
I'm Shannon, I'm 24 years old. I am a Vega student. I'm doing my honours currently in strategic brand communications. Previously I've done photography at Vega and I've got my degree as well from Vega. I'm a bit of a perfectionist and that always serves me badly because I'm someone who, I procrastinate because I want something done perfectly, so I make sure all the little tasks are perfect. So I'm very much someone who likes to be in control of things. I think most girls are like that, my age. And so with the whole MS thing coming into play, it's basically the definition of not being in control of your body, in control of your choices in life. And yeah, I've been diagnosed with MS since I was 16 years old and I've been living with it for 9 years so far. So the way I would describe myself as a child was very like a tomboy, someone who wanted to be outdoors in nature and kind of like a bit of a bossy little person. But my childhood was very fun. I had a good family, a good dad who was always involved in with his kids, always not the dad that would watch his kids do the thing. He'd usually be involved with us. So my childhood was a good one of good memories, and my family is a very wholesome family. So my schooling career consisted of me and my friends who were always set on our goals, always wanting to better each other during school. So my brain was always focused on school and getting those marks in, and luckily I had like-minded friends as well. And so school was easy for me in the beginning because I had friends who would motivate me as well, and it was like a competition between all of us. So I found it fun because I was someone who would try everything and anything just because. And so I was involved in choir and all kinds of sports. Even if I sucked at it, I just wanted to be involved in school, and that's the type of person I was.
Shannon, like any young person her age, was focused on her schooling, her friends and life, but nothing could have prepared her for what she would face.
I was writing an exam and I noticed that the way I would write started to get a bit sluggish, but then I thought it was just the stress of school and the stress of exams. And as well as I remember I would drink something and it would go down the wrong pipe. So that was a bit of a fear for me, but I thought it's just me not drinking properly. And then my friends would hear me speak and they'd be like, "Shan, you're speaking a bit weirdly." And I'd just be like, I'm just super tired. And it slowly got worse, and then my balance started becoming worse as well. And that's how it slowly triggered. So these small things started to become more regular, and my dad picked it up and then my mom did. And they told me that I need to go to the doctor.
Initially we thought, oh, well, this can't be anything serious because, we'd never had anything in our family to correlate any information to or even understand the situation. So I took it as though it's probably some imbalance in the hearing or the inner ear or something like that potentially could have caused the problem. We'll go to the doctor, general practitioner, we'll have a look, it'll be okay. And so we didn't even put urgency around it. Made an appointment, I think it was probably the next day. Yeah, probably the next day, took her to the doctor. He had a look at her and then his eyes just went big. He said, "You got to get to a specialist now. I'm going to arrange for you to get to the hospital now." All of a sudden, this thing that wasn't such a big problem just became a huge concern.
No one in their family had ever experienced or encountered anything like this, and they were referred to a neurologist who tested Shannon. The news they received is the kind that no parent would ever want to hear.
We went to hospital, and then he turned around and said to us something. He says, you know what, I have a daughter who's almost your daughter's age, and I feel for you. And he says, what I'm going to tell you now, it's not good. He says, I'm a brain surgeon, I can do nothing for her. A brain is actually overwhelmed with white patches inside, so he can't start anywhere. There's no ways he could start working on that brain. And he said, I unfortunately have to give you that bad news, that there's nothing that I can physically do. I'm going to refer you to other doctors, and we'll see from here where it goes. But there is no hope from me. I can give you no hope. For us, it was like a nail in the coffin kind of thing, you know. It was death sentence. If he can't help us, then who?
Former SAA board chairperson Dudu Myeni is testifying at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, and that's via video link.
There was quite a severe breakdown in the functioning of the board of SAA, wasn't there?
May I not answer the question in case I incriminate myself?
Ms. Myeni, you have experience in matters of corporate governance, don't you?
May I not answer the question in case I incriminate myself?
I can really tell you now, she's not going to answer any questions on the Companies Act. And we declare this up front, we're not grandstanding.
Chairperson, I do like to ask if I'm on trial or not.
You are not on trial, Ms. Myeni.
Our infrastructure build program will focus on social infrastructure. We will focus on critical network infrastructure.
Economic recovery plan for South Africa post-COVID-19. Did you get a sense that this is a plan that would be helpful in any way?
This is just a complete waste of time. It's not going to be done.
Has the president touched on the right elements to grow South Africa's economy?
I'm not optimistic about this infrastructure plan because it doesn't answer a very important issue.
Did it offer you anything of substance?
No, well, we welcome it, Arabile. The question is whether we can afford them, whether they're implementable in an urgent time frame.
SABC News has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to broadcasting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful to children, does not amount to hate speech, and contains no gratuitous violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, you may inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaint to P.O. Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024, or send a fax to 011-326-3198 or email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
Welcome back to the show. Before the break, we introduced you to Shannon Naidoo, who is living with multiple sclerosis. Right now, though, we'll look at how her parents were able to tell her the news that she will be living with this condition for her entire life. Let's have a look.
The love and bond between a father and daughter are the most powerful force in the universe. A father loves and protects. But what does it ask of a father to tell his one and only beloved daughter that she is sick? Everything. Shannon's dad had to tell her about the diagnosis from the neurologist.
I had to go and tell her this bad news, that, you know what, this is what the doctor said, because we couldn't hold it back and make it feel as though, you know what, there's hope or whatever else. So we went to her and said, look, this is what the doctor said. And you know, I was full of tears. Imagine, before then I had to prep myself to tell her this. I was like already crying inside of me. And I think when I went to her, she somehow, there was a sense of peace. You know, I don't know why she looked peaceful. And I told her that, you know, the doctor says they can't do anything for you. But for us, there's only one hope, you know, we're going to have to trust God in the situation.
Living with MS is like being reborn into a new self, and you have to adapt to a new normal. Your relationship with life changes, and you are introduced to a new experience of being human.
I wasn't able to talk properly at all. Couldn't use my hands. I couldn't walk properly. I wasn't able to think properly. My eyes became very blurry with the vision aspect, and it became much harder this time. And so when we went to the neurologist, he diagnosed me, and he said that he's going to put me under medication. And I knew that this was a permanent thing because I saw in my parents' face that I didn't know what multiple sclerosis was at that moment. But when I saw the look on my parents' faces, I knew that this was something intense, and I wasn't going to get out of it and get up just as quick as I would normally do in normal life situations.
But what is multiple sclerosis exactly, and how does it affect the body?
The term multiple, because there were multiple and scar tissue in the brain. And that's how the term multiple sclerosis arose.
Right.
And this is the disease we now know.
Yeah.
When we think about it, it's evolved from then, from the first recognition in the Western world. It's been there for forever, we think.
Yeah.
And it's basically an autoimmune disease.
All right.
Right. So, I mean, when we think of autoimmune diseases, we think of diabetes, we can think of lupus or systemic lupus erythematosus, all those things. This is the same thing. It's an autoimmune disease in which your immune system is attacking your central nervous system. And this is the key to it. It only affects the brain, optic nerves, and spinal cord, your central nervous system. So the peripheral nerves don't get affected in MS.
Multiple sclerosis affects you in so many ways, and Shannon explains how.
The biggest struggle with MS is the heat and the sun. That's our biggest enemy. And so some days, like my worst day would look like this. I would wake up in the day and I wouldn't be able to even leave my bed. My legs wouldn't get out of bed. The energy is just sucked out of me before I even begin my day. And so I would try to get out of bed, and it would be a mission, like literally motivational speeches just to get you out of bed. I would get into the shower, and just before I get into the shower, I'm already calculating how many actions I need to take, how many steps I need to take, and I know that's going to take a lot of energy. And so to calculate all of those things already in my brain is exhausting, knowing that I'm going to be exhausted by the time I turn that shower knob to get there. And so even stairs, like looking at stairs sometimes, like it's devastating knowing that your friend is next to you and they're going to walk and they're going to be fine. And then you don't want to be that person that's like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. I would get top 5 a lot. And the minute I actually got diagnosed with this, I noticed my marks started dropping, and my cognitive ability to solve problems and to think, it was a bit more challenging. And I thought, like, how can this be me? This is not me, you know? I had to take on a new identity, a new thing that I didn't know. And so that was the scary part for me, trying to find who I am with MS. So when it came to me trying to understand this disease and understand who I am, that was the difficult part, because I wasn't that academic anymore. I had to backtrack and think about things slowly, and it became harder. And how I would explain it is that if you have a path and you go to work every day, and you know that path off the back of your head, and someone puts something in the middle of the road and you don't know any other way to that path, to that work or job, it becomes way more, or a bigger challenge, I would say. So it's like my brain had to figure out different routes to get to a specific point or solution. So I didn't know how to explain it, I didn't quite understand it, and I didn't know how to voice it at that time because I was still young and I was still learning. But that was the biggest challenge, understanding how and who I am.
As a young person, you lose so much of what is normal at the hands of MS, and Shannon sheds light on this.
When I think about the things I lost, I would say a bit of my youth, but I've always been a serious person. I'm very playful in nature, but I've always been a serious person. When I think about all those beautiful moments in high school that I could have had with my friends, those are the things I think about, and I think, you know, that would have been a good thing to feel or a good thing to go through. And I didn't go to my matric farewell because I didn't feel like I wanted to be there, and I didn't feel like I deserved being there just because I'm the sick girl, you know. So it came to a point where I felt very isolated, and I did it to myself because I didn't want to make my friends go through some of the mental things I was going through. And I didn't know that they would understand. I didn't think they would. And so I knew that we would catch up one day, which we are now. But I knew that some things people can't carry. And this was something I needed to carry. So I learned how to persevere when everyone's not on your side and when everyone doesn't understand. I learned how to push through, and MS taught me that.
America Decides. We bring you reactions from across the globe with our correspondents ready to share the views from various countries.
Daniel Gijo, SABC, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Patrick Falk, SABC News, Beijing.
I'm Coletta Njohi for SABC News in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Bruce Harrison, SABC News, Seoul.
Phil Ihaza, SABC News in Abuja, Nigeria.
Stuart Smith, SABC News, Moscow.
Neha Punya, SABC News, New Delhi.
Holly Hudson for SABC News in London.
For the latest rolling coverage, watch the SABC News channel. Independent and impartial.
Mputsako Majoro is a co-founder of Sweet Oil. The business was initially founded as a hospitals and medical equipment supplier. Later, it added a restaurant to its portfolio. And when the pandemic struck at the beginning of this year, one business failed and another was born.
We then ventured into the manufacturing space. So we realized that a lot of PPE equipment was being imported into South Africa. Currently doing.
Sweet Oil produces around 40,000 KN95 and N95 masks daily, as well as face shields, which she explains that on their own are not effective and should be used together with a mask. And with fears of a second wave growing, Majoro says she and her team stand ready to ramp up production.
We are ready. We have all the resources to assist government. Could the second wave come, we are here to produce. If the demand becomes higher than what we have now, we have capacity to scale up within a week or two.
Welcome back. This is indeed the last leg of our positive and uplifting news. We are still continuing with the story of Shannon Naidoo. Despite being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, Shannon has been able to build a life of purpose. She's been able to find love and focus on the greater good of being able to live with this condition. Let's have a look.
What is the limit of what we can take? What can we bear? They say we are never given what we cannot carry. And for Shannon, not only did multiple sclerosis show her how strong she is, it gave her a new beginning. Multiple sclerosis intended to rob her of a good life and future. But fate had a different plan. Love enters Shannon's life.
Where I am today is, I would say, very happy. I'm engaged, and I feel as though that has helped me. The person that I'm with has helped me a lot with my journey and finding that happiness again and loving life and realizing that life is not only about one thing. And I was in survival mode for a long, long time. So it was just, let me live for today, let me fix this for today, let me survive for today. And he brought something else into my life.
With Shannon, what drew me to her was the fact that she was like very shy and timid. So that lack of seriousness in her was something that really drew me to her. It was very like mysterious, and I just wanted to get to know like the person behind this mask when I met her. We dated for about 1.5 years before I proposed, and that decision came nothing to do with the MS, just with me getting to know her as a person. And I was like, I really love this person. I could spend the rest of my life with her. And also the fact that we started off as friends, it really contributed towards the relationship we have.
MS affects everyone differently, and Shannon was able to change her mindset, and this improved her symptoms significantly.
I've opened myself in my mind to positive things and to thinking in a different way. So I took on a different thought process. So not only did I change the way I talked and I ate and I walked, I took on a different mentality or a different thought pattern. And a thought pattern that was, maybe MS is not the problem. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I need to change in the way I think. Maybe MS is a teacher for me. Maybe MS is a thing that's going to make me different, give me character. And that's how I started to think. And when I started to think like that, I became way more positive. I felt it in my body that I was feeling better. And I would say, even getting involved in church and realizing that this life is not about myself, helping people and realizing that it's okay to be there for other people too and give them advice. And when I took the focus off of me and my illness and me being sick and focus on something worthwhile, that's when my body began to act positively.
They say the size of our battles reveals the size of their character. And with everything that Shannon has faced, her father and friends had this to say about the woman she has become and the size of her character.
She's built her own confidence, she's built her own life and her own surroundings. She's done more than I would have expected, because with the condition, it was very difficult for her to have a lot of people around her. She would isolate herself a lot, because there was days where family would visit and say, I can't do it. She would go in her own space and isolate herself. And over time, she's dealt with that. And she's dealt with it very well. And she's improved herself. And she's done things to improve herself.
From the time she was a small girl, you know, I've always seen that. But I see it now that she definitely has a brighter future. I see her getting married. I see her having her kids that she'll maybe one day want to have. And yeah, I'm just so excited to see where she is at now and how she's grown and all her achievements. And like I said, like Trevor says, she's a pusher of note. She doesn't make anything hold her back. She will just push in and make sure things happen for herself. And I think that's what I admire most of her.
She's got a natural beauty to her, both outside and inside, and she's just such a soft, calm, gentle person that will be there for anyone. And I think seeing that come full circle from before MS to where she is now, having that in my friend is such an incredible experience. You know, she's so strong, she's so, you know, she's not being overpowered by the problem in her life. She's taking charge, and seeing that courage and that bravery is really incredible.
She's unfailingly kind, and she has a lot of empathy and sympathy for people. She'll always ask like people, are they okay? Even like if she's not doing okay, she's always checking on other people. And I think it's a result of her having this condition. And when you have like so much pain in your life, I feel like there's a sort of grace and understanding of like how real life is at such a young age, and you develop like this mature emotional mindset, which I really admired about her.
Gratitude allows us to transcend beyond the affliction and the pain we face, and Shannon was able to see past what she was facing and become the person she needed to be.
When I was in a dark place, I realized that I needed to get out of myself and into a different environment. And so my dad actually said, why don't you help out at the orphanage in Safe Haven? And so what I did was I went to go and help teach them. So I would do extra tuition with them. And so it took me to a different place, because I remember a little girl saying to me, oh, I like your watch. Who got you that watch? And I would say to her, like my mom got me that. And I realized, oh my gosh, this little girl doesn't have a mom. I have so much more than this poor little girl. That's what I thought. And I'm like, why am I so selfish to think that my life is so bad or worse than someone else's? And when I realized that there are people that go through 10 times worse things than me, I realized that I don't have a right to complain. It made me realize I have a family. I have everything I need to be the person that I need to be.
Shannon is a definition of resilience. She has managed to rewrite a new story for a life where MS does not define her. In fact, multiple sclerosis has built her into a formidable young woman. She has a winning attitude and perspective, and she has this to say to those who are living with MS.
No matter where you are in life, it's not a final sentence. It's not a final thing. What's final is the way you decide to be, how you decide to handle your situation and your mental ability. And I do believe that we have the capability to go through much more than we think we can. And that's what MS does. It tells you how strong you are, not how weak you are. And the fact that you can wake up every day, that is strength.
Shannon's story has been a great teaching moment for all of us to have a deeper understanding of others and to always remember it is not over. So don't ever write yourself off. From myself, Pule Molebatsi, and the rest of the team, it's a goodbye.